Hey there, folks. Welcome to a very exciting live stream from Hot New Hip Hop. We're just going to give it a few minutes for people to get settled in on this beautiful Friday. And yeah, we're going to go over some Grammys predictions today, see what's going to happen on music's biggest night. A lot of debates and a lot of discussions happening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Gabriel. I am here with Tally. Tally, how are you doing today?
Hey everybody, it's Tally Spencer here. Hey Gabe, I'm feeling good. Happy Friday. Like you said, it is the Fridays before Grammys on Sunday. So I'm super excited. Grammy week here in LA has been very, very hectic. Everyone has been outside. So it's been interesting to see the energy and also just like how we didn't have a Grammys week last year. So this feels like the year where everyone's kind of ready to party and celebrate their nomination. So it's definitely been a fun time here in LA.
No, absolutely, and it's going to keep being a fun time. Just so you folks know, we are going to be covering the Grammys via a live blog on Hot New Hip Hop on Sunday, February 1st. I believe that the pre-ceremony for most of the nominations and most of the awards, not nominations, the awards announcements are going to be at around 3:30 Eastern time, and then the show itself starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to be covering everything that has to do with the rap categories, R&B categories, the general field winners. So stay tuned to Hot New Hip Hop on that. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. It's got a lot of great nominations this year. And we're going to kick things off now with a discussion on the big boy, which is Album of the Year. So,
A highly anticipated
yeah,
category. This is
absolutely.
undoubtedly one of the top categories that everybody, always has their predictions on. And it'll be interesting to kind of see where we land on this. So I'm excited to see like whether we're right or wrong after this.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, if you folks have your picks, predictions, everything, drop them in the comments, say hello. We're really interested to see what people have to say. So, Tally, I ask you, who do you think is going to win Album of the Year at the Grammys?
Wow. Well, that's a stacked question. Okay. The lineup is there's a lot of contenders to consider. Okay. So we got Bad Bunny, we got Clips, Justin Bieber, Kendrick Lamar, Lady Gaga, Leon Thomas, Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler the Creator. So first off, that category is stacked. A lot of great music on that album of the year. But honestly, I think it's a close cut. I feel like my take is that Kendrick is a safe bet. Just based on his momentum and based on like how the Academy has been voting these last couple years. But I think that I'm gonna have to say Bad Bunny for this one, just because I think the global reach has been at an all-time high for him, especially in 2025. I feel like he dominated, and now with him getting ready for Super Bowl, I don't think it would be a bad pick to say Bad Bunny might win Album of the Year. Yeah, that's my take.
No, absolutely. I mean, y'all see the shirt. Y'all can't hear it, but I'm out here in Puerto Rico right now, so the bias is real. However, jokes aside, I do think that as far as a prediction, Bad Bunny is a really, really good pick because the album has been such a monumental force, not just commercially, but also culturally. But that being said, going back to Kendrick, I kind of feel like this is his year, and I feel like he's going to be the artist to beat in all these categories. He's had like 2 years of amazing momentum at this point. And I think the Grammys have also been long overdue to give Kendrick Album of the Year, similar to Beyonce last year as well. So I think that that's going to be like a really tight race. Just to give some more shout outs, I think that the Sabrina Carpenter record is also gaining a lot of momentum. Leon Thomas's Mutt is also one that I feel like has been nominated in a lot of other categories, which could be a sneak. And speaking of overdue Grammys, Gaga also has that with Mayhem. So I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be Kendrick, as much as I would like to agree, Tally, but I'm definitely rooting for Bad Bunny, the most important, consequential, like mind blowing album of last year. And it actually came out last year, so that's always a plus.
I hear that. I hear that take. I don't know though. I think like Kendrick has had his moments for sure. Like he's been like remember the year before that Grammys, he took home tons of awards. He got recognized for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. I think because GNX also came out in late 2024, that's why it's kind of seemed like okay, it's been Kendrick's year for a long time now. I'm not sure if the Grammys are ready to acknowledge that again for another year. I think Kendrick has also been nominated in several other categories that like it kind of feels like this would be an opportunity to give it to somebody who's like, all right, Kendrick, we got you somewhere else.
Yeah.
They
No,
might
that's a
even
good point.
acknowledge clips. They might even acknowledge clips in this
That
one.
would
That
be
would
huge.
be crazy. That would
That
be
would be
crazy.
huge. As like for hip hop fans, I feel like that would be a really, really big pick.
That'd
But
be a
as you
win.
said, oh sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, no, no. I was just adding on. That would be a win. But Clips is also nominated in Best Rap Album. So we'll get there later. But I think Album of the Year is like meant to be like a big staple moment culturally. And I just think with Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl, easy win.
Yeah, for sure. But also there are some like other general category nominations that Kendrick could win, especially in Record of the Year, since Luther with SZA was such a huge hit, and that's going to be another really big category as far as like stacked nominations. We also have Bad Bunny in
Mm-hmm.
there, Billie Eilish, Chappell Roan, Doechii, Gaga, Rose and Bruno Mars, and Sabrina Carpenter. I think that in this regard, as you said with Kendrick, I feel like he's got a lot of momentum, and Luther was such a huge record that translated across the board that I think is going to be really difficult to beat in this Record of the Year category, especially when they nominate and typically reward tracks with the actual award that are a little bit more mellow, are pretty clean and pristine, and I feel like Luther is just like that to a T. Obviously, again, I would love Bad Bunny's DTMF to win. I feel like that's also a really nice mix of traditional and contemporary production as far as the percussion and all that. So that would be really interesting to see as like a production win. But what about you, Tally? You think this might be a different category or a different win?
You know, with that being said, I think we should move on to Record of the Year and that, talk about who could win there because that's where I feel like Kendrick and SZA have a fair shot at Luther taking home that prize. So, Record of the Year, we got Bad Bunny, DTMF, Billie Eilish, Wildflower, Chappell Roan, The Subway, Doechii, Anxiety. Kendrick and SZA, Luther, Lady Gaga, Abracadabra, Rose and Bruno Mars, Apartment, Sabrina Carpenter, Manchild. So, record of the year, they always, in my opinion, reward like very clean, very polished records that kind of have like universal appeal. And I think it's important to note that like cultural moments don't always translate into like Grammy winning moments. And we've seen that time and time again. You mentioned earlier with Beyonce having won her very first album of the year just last year for Cowboy Carter. Cowboy Carter was not even her best album, in my opinion. So culturally, like, it's interesting to see how just because a moment has a song has a big moment culturally, it doesn't always translate. So I'm just curious to see like if the Grammys is getting it right. I know they made a bunch of changes to like have a younger voting academy and like just diversify it a little bit to actually acknowledge rap as music. So, um, my take for this one would definitely have to be Kendrick and SZA, Luther. Huge, huge song. They got to tour it, they got to actually perform it. And I just think, although it was a cultural moment, I don't think there's denying any like success. I think everyone on the globe has heard that song.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Drake line on Family Matters still rings true. Kendrick, the Grammys love Kendrick, and I think that that could be a really, really solid shot for Record of the Year. I think that there's also some other great production to take note of in this category, like the Abracadabra track as well. And I feel like they also really like Billie Eilish, and that's also like a particular production on Wildflower that's a little bit more mellow, a little bit more melancholy, I would say. So there's always, those like outliers and those chances because it is a really stacked category. But we'll see. It was also a big year for collaborations, so I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight race, but again, I feel like Kendrick is going to be the one to beat. And we also have a lot of really similar tracks in the Song of the Year category, which is
Mhm.
also going to be like an interesting conversation to have as well.
What are your thoughts on Lady Gaga? Because she's nominated also in a few categories, and the Grammys love Lady Gaga, like love, 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 love. So with her being in this category, do you think that she has a chance, or what do you think that like people are looking for when it comes to this category of Record of the Year?
I think that it's gonna be like a pretty universal. They're gonna try to go for a pretty universal pick. So I don't know if Lady Gaga is going to get it for record necessarily. I do hope she gets it in her pop categories and everything because she definitely deserves it. But I don't know. She's also got she's got plenty of other shots throughout, as well as Song of the Year. She's also nominated in Song of the Year, which is another category you can get into. Here we have similar nominees from before: Bad Bunny, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, Billie Eilish, Wildflower, Doechii Anxiety, Hunter X, Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack, Kendrick and SZA Luther, Rose and Bruno Mars Apartment, and Sabrina Carpenter Man Child. With Song of the Year, it's always a little bit different than record because it's more songwriting than production. And in previous Grammys history, I feel like they've also really gone with the more like melancholy tracks in this category, ones that have a little bit more thematic depth to them. And for that reason, I feel like they might go with Bad Bunny in this one. This one I feel like is the strongest chance he has because he has really strong competition in the other ones. But here, a track about nostalgia, about memories, about living in the moment, living in the present. I feel like that's going to carry a lot of weight for Grammys voters, and the fact that it's in Spanish, I feel like could also represent a really monumental cultural shift as far as like how the Grammys look at world music as a whole. Hopefully, it continues to be the case. But I don't know. Tally, you had some interesting thoughts to say about Debí Tirar Más Fotos when we initially spoke about this a couple days ago. What do you think about the category?
Yeah, well, I would question if Kendrick could win Song of the Year 2 years in a row. I'm gonna have to this category in specific, it's important to note that the difference between Record of the Year and Song of the Year, this category, Song of the Year, rewards songwriting and not production. And then Record of the Year highlights more so like production and how it's put together, vocals. So with that being said, like I kind of agree with your point of it just being like in Spanish. That would be pretty historic in itself. But I think Bad Bunny feels strong. If voters want to make a statement that's kind of beyond the English language, like songs that are international can be nominated for Song of the Year and have a real impact. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting one. Also, chat, let us know what you guys think. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to know if you agree with us or not. And let us know who you think would be Song of the Year in this category. Is it based on who you're listening to? Is it based on the biggest cultural moment? Drop your comments. We'll see if we agree with them.
Please,
But
please,
yeah,
please.
no, this category is definitely stacked too. So I would say Bad Bunny for this one too. And I'm not trying to throw any shade Kendrick's way at all. I just think that he already won Song of the Year.
No, for sure. Let's see. Do you think Bad Bunny will sweep again this year, or is this Bad Bunny's year to dominate the Grammys? We'll see. We'll let y'all decide on that. I think it's also been a big year for K-pop too, so we can't sleep on Hunter X either. And I feel like that would also be like a really big cultural moment that a lot of people would really celebrate. That record, I feel like, also has a strong songwriting behind it. So I don't know. It's gonna be a tough call. I think Bad Bunny is gonna win this one because I think he has a tougher chance of winning the other categories. Again, no slight to Kendrick at all because I love Luther, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about Luther further on.
I hope
But
Bad
yeah,
Bunny takes one of those pictures with like all the awards, holding it like this
yes, I
on the
am. I
carpet, just like Kendrick did. That'd be crazy.
That is gonna be my phone background for a significant time if it does happen.
I know that
So
picture of Kendrick still like circulates to this day. So
yeah, rent free in a lot of people's heads, and
rent free in my head.
no, absolutely. And after those wins last year, Kendrick is once again nominated for Best Rap Album this year as well. GNX last year obviously was not within the time frame of nominations for the 2025 ceremony, so now he's in for Best Rap Album with GNX. The other nominees in this category are Clips's Let God Sort 'Em Out, Glorilla's Glorious, Jid's The God Does Like Ugly, and Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia. Goat versus Goat, it's a tough one. I agree, Jedi Master 1507. It's going to be a really tough matchup, and that's what a lot of people are excited about. But talking about the best rap album category specifically, Clips and Tyler are also up for Album of the Year alongside Kendrick, so that's going to be a big conversation. But I don't know, Tyler. Do you think that it's going to be like a surefire win for Kendrick in this
You
category as well,
know,
considering the momentum?
I'm glad you asked, Gabe. I think this is a clear shot between Kendrick and Clips. I think obviously, no doubt, like two biggest rap albums to come out within the last year. Um, Jid, God Does Like Ugly, that was an amazing album. I would love to see him get some recognition for that. I think, the nom itself is a big recognition. I don't think he will take it home just because we have like way, bigger albums in this category that, not to say this Jid's album wasn't big, but I think, this is kind of the category for like the big dogs and Clips having that moment that it had and GNX having that moment that it had. Rap is a category where it should be based on cultural momentum. And I think honestly it's hard for me to even decide between those two. I personally would love to see GNX take it away, but I think Clips is gonna take the win for this. I think they benefit from having the legacy, and I think they have the timing down because GNX came out in late 2024. Like I said earlier, and that's something where like it could matter. I think the timing with Clip, it just feels like right. It just feels like they shouldn't give Kendrick everything, especially if he has other categories. Like let's spread out the awards because there's enough to go around. And I think Clips kind of deserve this moment. So that's my pick.
Yeah, for sure. I think I will go on the flip side. I would want to see Clips win, but I think that Kendrick is ultimately going to take it because I think that there are some other categories that we'll get to soon that Clips might be able to take home, as well as JID. But I think that in terms of the conversation between them, I feel like for hip hop fans that have spent not as long of a time with Let God Sort 'Em Out as they have with GNX, that album is much fresher in their minds, and I feel like that they have framed their rollout and their approach and their artistry so much around just like the quality of their music, sticking to their roots, coming back after so many years. I just feel like it's an incredible story that they've clearly put so much love and care into really celebrating themselves and advocating for themselves. And I would love to see the Grammys celebrate that. Even if Kendrick ends up winning the big categories, I'd love to see this be an instance where if he does win Album of the Year, maybe Clips ends up taking the rap category because not everyone's gonna vote in the rap category that also voted in the generals and so on. So that's always an
That's a good
interesting
point.
like discrepancy to note. So I don't know. And just to note as well, like I wanted to say that I really think that they should have nominated Playboy Cardi's music in this category.
Mm,
Say what you will about the album, but very few mainstream rap albums last year were as representative of where hip hop is today
very
sonically.
true.
And I feel like that was a huge oversight. And not to take away from Jid or Tyler or Glorilla, because I really like those projects. I'm a big Tyler stan in particular. But I think that, music definitely deserved that nod as well. I don't know if you were also a fan of the record tally, but that was one of the things
Yeah.
that was in my mind.
No, I agree. That was such a great album. I do think that was a snub for sure. If I had to replace one of these albums with Playboy Cardi taking a nom, I'd replace Glorilla. And no shade to Glorilla, but I just think the album was better, fair and fair and square.
Yeah,
And I think if fans were voting, then I think Playboy might have been an easy win in this category, if it were up to the fans and if it were up to the listeners, just given his fan base. But Yeah, we'll see. Maybe next year. But I do think that was one of his best albums. And for it to not be nominated in this category is still kind of like, all right, like the Grammys are kind of catching up to the new sound still. And
Yeah.
that's what I take away from that.
We'll see if they catch up in a couple of years. But speaking of Glorilla, she's also up for Best Rap Performance this year for. Actually, she's not up for Best Rap Performance. That's my bad. But we do have Kendrick as well in Best Rap Performance, talking about some of the Best Rap Album nominees for TV Off. We also have Tyler with Darling I, Doechii with Anxiety, Clips and Kendrick with Chains and Whips, so a double Kendrick nomination here, and Cardi B with Outside. Once again, let us know in the comments if you disagree, if you think there's a sleeper pick, but this seems to be a battle between the two Kendrick nominations here. Because I think that anytime there's a dual nominee in a category, it feels, it might be a bit of a lock. The question is whether or not like TV Off deserves it over Chains and Whips, which I think that Chains and Whips is a very measured performance. It's a very like focused performance. I personally really like Kendrick's energy on TV Off and kind of like what he brings to the table. I'm predicting that they will go with Clips because this is one of the categories that I feel like Clips is better poised to win than the rap album one, as far as like giving them that recognition and giving them that moment. I really like Tyler's performance on Darling I as well, but in comparison to the other nominees, I feel like they're really going to go for the more fiery and more like impactful performances here. So, what do you think about the TV Off versus Chains and Whips, or are there any sleeper picks that you think might take it?
Maybe I'm just GNX'd out. Maybe I just am kind of exhausted from from hearing all
You're
this
feeling
song.
the
I
tape
feel
deck.
like I've heard GNX so many times that I'm a little biased to be like, yeah, Kendrick. I think that's the easy pick again. And like every category we've mentioned, Kendrick has been, part of the discussion. So it's clear like he's on top with rap, but I think like I said, they kind of need to spread out some of these awards, and I think I'm not mad at it if Chains and Whips takes this home. But if I'm being honest, I do think TV Off was the better performance, and yeah, they performed at a Super Bowl, and it was such a moment.
Yeah.
It was such a moment. So I'm not strongly like attached to any of these outcomes. uh, I don't know. Doechii Anxiety is also an interesting
That's a
nomination
sleeper.
for
I was
this.
gonna say that's a sleeper because her general field categories and the fact that Clips and Kendrick are in other categories too, it might make the Grammys want to like give her a nom as well. I just think that she unfortunately got so much like social media flack for Anxiety in particular, which I'm not a big fan of personally, but still like
I
I feel like
haven't
that's gonna
met one
influence.
person who is, in all honesty.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like that might be something like working against her in this category, but it could also be a chance for the Grammys to give her this award and kind of give other, like you were saying, like distributing to the other nominees like in these categories. So I think
That's
that
one
I'm gonna,
win where I feel like people would be super upset if Anxiety
yeah,
won.
if they wanna go like just a little bit more viral and cause just a little bit more of a fuss on social media, which you're always gonna do because it's the Grammys, like people always have their opinions and their disagreements and yada yada. If they really wanted to, lean into it, then they might give Doechii something for one of her most like controversial tracks. But I'm really looking forward to that album. A little bit apart from the conversation, but
Yeah.
as far
I
as
think
the
giving it to Doechii would, and that's sad that this is the conversation with it, but it would cause so much like backlash for Doechii that I would just feel bad for her at the end of the day. And like, shout out to her, but I know the conversation around Doechii has been that like, oh, it feels forced, and like, why is she nominated in all these categories? So I don't know. I feel like this category usually favors like energy and presence kind of over the message. And I want to say that record, I'm not sure if I would give it like best rap performance.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. We'll see if she proves the haters wrong. She might prove them wrong because she's also up in the best rap song category. Anxiety is back on best rap song. We
It
also
is?
have
Oh.
we also have the Glorilla track I was talking about earlier, TGIF. We have clips of John Legend, Voices of Fire with The Birds Don't Sing, Kendrick with TV Off Again, and then Tyler's Posse Cut with Glorilla. Double nomination for Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne with Sticky. I really like Sticky. That is a banger, banger, banger. Although I have to say, as far as the emotional weight behind Clips's Burns Don't Sing, and the fact that they performed it at the Vatican and all these things, like with the song, like the tribute to their parents and all that. I feel like that's just like a very Grammys ready win
Yeah.
for them. So I feel like that's going to be my pick and prediction. I do think that they have amazing verses on there, and I think that it's one of their most focused tracks on a very very focused album already. I as far as like, I think it would be amazing to see Glorilla win it because I really do love that TGIF track. I remember when I first heard, like, when it wasn't out yet and all we had was a snippet of it. A friend of mine showed it to me and just like instantaneous stank face, and I'm still listening to that track. So I really, really, I think that would be like pretty sick to see. And let us know in the comments as well if you guys are, agreeing with us so far. Are we missing? Are we hitting? But yeah, what do you think about this best rap song? Do you think there's a clear winner here?
If it doesn't win here, TV Off is going to take the best rap performance category, which we talked about earlier. So, in case you guys are just joining us right now, we did go through our major picks for album of the year, song of the year, record of the year. And now we are on best rap song. And we kind of pretty much have been talking about how Kendrick, is the major player in a lot of these categories, and he's nominated throughout several categories with GNX, but also TV Off, Luther. So pretty much the entire album appears somewhere in the noms. I've mentioned how I'm a little bit exhausted of the GNX kind of promo, but it's undoubtedly like he's going to take home some of these. I think again, if he doesn't win TV Off in best rap song, he will win it for best rap performance. I think they have to spread it out among the rappers. There's not many of them in this category to
Yeah.
choose from. It's Clips and Kendrick. It's a Clips and Kendrick year. I
I think
know.
Kendrick is. I mean, I think Clips is gonna take the songs though, because I think that Kendrick has a big shot with the albums and with record and song of the year. But as far as the rap songs, I feel like the Clips fans are really gonna show out in the voting block.
We'll see. But then, if that's the case, Tyler fans should also, show out because
Yeah,
I
I
know
saw some
people
Tyler love in
people
the
really love
comments.
that.
Keep throwing that in there. Love to see
What'd
some
you
Tyler.
say?
Oh no, I just saw some people hyping up Sticky in our comments. So
Oh,
love to see that
oh, oh.
Tyler love in there.
Yeah, Sticky is a great song. It's a great song. Is it best rap song though? I guess we'll see. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, we'll see. I feel like also
King
like Posse
Kendrick.
Cuts are an interesting nomination for like best rap song as well. As far as like whenever you have like all these big categories with with these big artists like all on one track, I feel like the Grammys are gonna look for that moment factor. See um some more Sticky love from Gently Post. Sticky should take it. We'll see. I think it will be awesome, but we'll see how it goes. Um I think that it's going to be, again, like a tough matchup between Kendrick and Clips, but it's also like an opportunity where maybe that splits some votes and, a smaller but very vocal subset can actually
Yeah.
take like a majority there. So I think it would be pretty interesting to see how it plays out.
I think it's just so easy to say Kendrick. I feel like he's the default answer when people just don't want to debate. Like you can say Kendrick and it's like, all right. Like nobody is gonna disagree with you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the Grammys. A lot of times they're going to be looking for that as well. So I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting year as far as rap in the at the Grammys. Capping that off, we have the best melodic rap performance, which has Friday and Meek Mill's "Proud of Me," Jid, Ty Dolla $ign, and Black's "Wholeheartedly." Kendrick Lamar and SZA with "Luther" again. Party Next Door and Drake with "Somebody Loves Me," and Terrace Martin and Kenyon Dixon featuring Rhapsody with We Mage. I really like this category. I think they're all like very, very solid picks. Again, we have a record and song of the year nominee in Luther, so I feel like the safe pick is going to be predicting for that to take the win. That being said, I think if you look at the history of this category in the past, whether it was All My Life winning, 3 a.m. last year, Wait for You, like there's always like some really melancholy, pretty like light melodic, but still like very heavy rap verse picks in this category, and that's why I think that Friday and Meek Mill actually have a sneaky chance to take this one. It's a gorgeous
Really?
track. I feel like they put on some like really beautiful performances. It's a very heartfelt track about their parents as well. We might see a bit of a theme here, like with the Grammys and just like their hardships. And I feel like as far as the production of the track as well, like it's not ruined by like super clean percussion or something like that. It's just like the atmosphere of the track. It just sets you in. And I feel like it's a very Grammy like nominee. So if the people from the general field don't end up voting in this category, I think that Friday and Meek Mill, Proud of Me, is going to take it. If not, it's probably going to be Kendrick. But what do you think, Tally?
This category, my favorites are definitely Luther. I think that's a strong, strong pick. Um, I do think that the fact that they've had to perform, like they've had the opportunity to tour this song and perform it multiple times, so it is kind of ingrained in our heads, and it's undeniable momentum. I think it's best rap performance. So, and that means what exactly? Like the way that, the song is performed. You can perform it live, you can listen to it in the car. It's great on tour. Like it performs well. I don't know if every other song has had that opportunity. I think your take of Proud of Me with Friday and Meek Mill is an interesting pick. Don't think that one will win, to be honest. I think I love that Party Next Door and Drake are in this category with Somebody Loves Me. I love that song, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I
that's a
just think
highlight for
that,
sure on some
yeah,
sections.
I just think this is the wrong category for it. Like, I love the song, but how is it melodic rap?
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen it. Like I get why. I think that some other songs from that album could have been picked in this category. That is just like a straight up R&B jam that translates across the board though. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more love for it. But obviously, I feel like when Drake puts himself up for Grammys these days, it's for when he's doing his collabs and collab albums with 21 Savage, and with Party Next Door. So we'll see if the Grammys decides to, kind of switch gears and be like, you know what, let's give him a win. As far as pick though,
I got it.
I really want Jids wholeheartedly to win. That would be amazing because I don't think he's getting it in the best rap album category, and I do really love that song. I think he puts on a great melodic performance, really showing off his singing. He has a great switch into the rap flow as well from his more melodic verse, and I think that that really shows off the performance aspect of it really well. And I would just love to see Jid walk away with a Grammy this year. I think
Same.
this is his category to take because I don't think he has, sadly, as much of a chance in the best rap album. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a very interesting, again, Grammys for rap, a lot of big nominees. And we could probably say the same about the best R&B categories this year, which are also pretty stacked and have a lot of big picks.
True.
Tyler, do
I
you
will
want to start
say,
us off?
yeah, no, I will say I feel like, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
I think this year the Grammys like got it right with nominating as many rap and R&B categories or artists as they did. I think like for the most part they got the predictions right. I mean the nominations right as far as like giving people at least their credit, because even though people don't always walk away with a win, I think it's important to acknowledge that, they're at least in the category, and that way it's like they're still going to show up, they're still going to watch, they're still going to, feel like they're making an impact in the culture. And
Mhm.
Grammys has been that presence for a long time for a lot of artists that kind of validates what they're doing, validates like it's every artist's goal to at least be nominated, to at least win. So um there's so many artists in this category, like rappers throughout the years who have never been nominated, and it's like the fact that you haven't doesn't say anything about your music. But I think now the Grammys are trying to course correct, like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
and acknowledge a lot of these artists who are putting in the work and who the culture kind of looks to. So in this category, just to kind of wrap that up, I think lots of great options here, but my take would be Luther. I think SZA, Kendrick have come a long way with that record. And yeah, the momentum's undeniable.
Yeah, it's so
So
smooth. It could have fit in the R&B performance category too, honestly, but they ended up going with another one. But in the R&B performance category specifically, we have Chris Brown and Bryson Tiller. It depends. Justin Bieber, Yukon, Kalani Folded, Leon Thomas, Mutt from Tiny Desk, and Summer Walker's Heart of a Woman.
can I
Mutt
just
is
say,
a
I love all of these songs. This is
Yeah,
the
it's a
best
tough category.
category. I can't wait to see who wins here. Every single song here, I've had on my playlist on repeat for like months since they've come out. So great job, Grammys, with
Yeah,
this
no
category.
notes. They put a great batch of R&B this year. I think that the momentum of Leon Thomas's Mutt being such a big hit and it being a live performance as well, I feel like it makes it really ready for an award season. Kind of like how I believe it was Money Long that won for like a BET live performance last year, or maybe that was 2 years ago. But regardless, I feel like that's usually something that they really lean into. So I feel like I'm going to predict that Mutt ends up taking it. Let us know in the comments if you guys agree. Mutt was a massive, massive song. It might be getting like the overplayed, overhated treatment right now because of how huge it was. Another 2024 banger. But I think there's also a category where they might really hammer home the performance aspect of it. And that's why I think that Summer Walker and Kalani also have really strong shots because of their vocal performances on the tracks. And I feel like those are really amazing instrumentals for them to float over. Whereas Mutt is just kind of like very all encompassing and is just like a very straightforward jam. So I don't know, right? It's tough between Folded and Mutt, Chantilly. It's super, super tough.
It's
Like those are
folded.
two massive,
It's
massive tracks.
folded. Let's just call it how it is. Let's go ahead and give her the award right now. It's
I'll do
folded.
that.
That's my bet, 100,000%. Kaylani has never won a Grammy. So I
Really?
think, yeah.
I didn't
So
know that.
this
Yeah.
is one instance where I think it would be long overdue to give her her best R&B performance because Folded was the song. I think if it had the opportunity, nominated for Song of the Year, in my opinion. But this
It could
song
have
has
gone
went
there. It could have gone
triple platinum in my house personally. So I do hope she wins. I want her to win. That's my prediction. I think she will win. And I think it was made for award stages, and I think that the fact that she's never won a Grammy before, this is your time to make it right, Grammys. So
for sure.
folded.
And it was a really, really massive hit as well. I feel like it resonated across a lot of corners. I don't know if you saw a clip of somebody's dad recently went viral for trying to sing it, like trying to sing the lyrics without knowing what the
Oh,
song was.
I saw that.
And I
I
thought
just
that was
watched
really
that.
funny. And I thought that was really funny because it also just kind of it goes to show how people are like sharing this track and really making it a big cultural moment as well. Got some more love for Kalani in the comments. Thank you, Avancier.
Shout
And I
out
feel like
Kehlani. Everybody knows that she's gonna take this one home. And like I love Leon Thomas. I think he's having an excellent year,
for sure.
great breakout year. He's been, having a lot of momentum with Mutt and he, released the Heal Deluxe. No denying. I think Leon Thomas might win somewhere else. Might win somewhere else.
Yeah.
But even if he doesn't, like he'll be back.
Oh, absolutely. And he's been captivating audiences ever since his like very, very early Victorious days. So Leon Thomas is gonna be great no matter what. And I feel like the R&B categories they might split up a lot between Leon and Kalani as far as like these big performance and song
Yeah,
because
it's
they just have so much.
interesting because I think like Leon is definitely at the top of his category when it comes to like male R&B artists. And I went to a Grammy party earlier this week that Easy Money Records was throwing, which is the label that he signed to. He signed to Ty Dolla Sign and Sean Baron, and they had a whole event. They brought out everybody. Leon was there. He gave a speech pretty much like thanking them for signing him and giving him an opportunity. And like he kind of talked about just being signed to Ty Dolla Sign in general and how he was like, it's not a bad decision to sign to another artist, because I know that's a conversation that like, artists don't shouldn't sign to other artists, but he has, a former record label executive alongside him, and then Ty Dolla Sign, who's also a songwriter, who's also a producer, who's also well connected. So them having Leon as like their first major signee, congrats to them. But like Leon is a generational talent, and I just think this is the beginning for them. So it'll be interesting to kind of see like where Leon's career goes in the R&B world.
For sure.
Considering like he doesn't dance too much. I was listening to another podcast where they were saying he was like He was like the copy and paste Chris Brown, and I don't know. I
We'll
would not
see.
agree with that.
They're facing off. They're facing off in more categories this year. They're also in Best R&B Song, which we're gonna move on to, because they have Chris Brown and Bryson Tiller with "It Depends" again. We also have Leon Thomas with "Yes It Is" instead of "Mutt," which might surprise some people. Kalani with "Folded" again. Summer Walker with "Heart of a Woman" again, and Duran Bernard with "Overqualified," which I do want to shout out because I do think that's a really really sweet jam. But again, I feel like Folded is kind of the favorite right now, especially with the absence of Mutt. I know that the Grammys have given some love to Chris Brown before, so that's always like a pretty big question mark, as well as Summer Walker as well, who I feel like has really been, especially this year with a lot of like '90s nostalgia, in addition to all of her work within like contemporary R&B. I feel like it's just been a really nice category representation this year. Like Avancier says in the comments, R&B on a whole is in a good space, both male and female. Could not agree more. I feel like this was a really strong year. But what do you think about the best R&B song category, Tally?
You already know my take,
Yeah.
Gabe. You guys should know what I'm gonna say. I'm folded all the way. We're gonna ride for Kailani and that song. I think Folded deserves all the wins, all the titles. I want to see, a female R&B artist in this category take the win as well. Again, Kailani is long, long overdue. I think this is her time. She's been working for years and she has never had a Grammy. So I want to see the underdogs kind of like take home some gold this year. And like Leon, he's just getting started. He's nominated
Yeah,
in Best New Artist as well. Kaylani's not
that's
a new
true.
artist. Like let's be real here. Let's give it to Folded, and then Leon he's gonna be around for a while. So it's okay. He has plenty of time.
Yeah, no, that's a good point for sure. He's got plenty of time, and I feel like Mutt also being like as big of a hit as it is, it might really translate in the best R&B performance category. But for best R&B song, where it's not nominated, I feel like that's where Kalani's like hit power and just how gorgeous that track is, like as a whole. Like especially if
Yeah.
you're not a Kalani listener and you might listen to like only a couple of songs here and there, like you will be taken aback by how like tender that track is, and the fact that it has blown up in the way that it has is just really awesome to see. So I don't know. I think that again, it's going to probably be between Leon and Kalani, in my opinion. I personally, that Leon track is one of my personal highlights off of Mud, so I would love to see it win and to have Kalani get the performance side of things. I like it. I think I'm like a lot of other viewers where like I like to see the awards distributed pretty evenly.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to see how the Grammys, if they do choose to do that, how they choose to, okay, well, this is going to go for performance, this is song, as a whole, like as a holistic album experience, this is going to be the winner. So I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a tough call,
That's a
but
good point, Gabe. And I think like you mentioned, kind of a casual viewer, I don't think they really care what category their favorite artist wins in as long as they win something. And I think like the differentiations maybe are really like very subtle. I think like for us, because we write about music, we're familiar with all the intricate details of the categories. Like it carries a little bit more weight for us. But if I'm a casual fan on the couch and I'm like, and I hear Kaylani, won a Grammy, I'm not going to be picky about the category that she won the Grammy in
yeah, for sure.
necessarily. I think the difference even too is like not too much. Even if she wins 3 or 4 versus like 1, I'd be happy with just 1. I'd
Yeah,
be happy with just
absolutely.
1.
We got some more love for Kalani in the chat. Chantilly said earlier, she was so respectful to fold the clothes. And so respectful. So respectful. Love to see it.
Listen,
Yeah.
because it's relatable. I think that record speaks to anybody who has ever loved anybody and like maybe went through a breakup or like the door is not closed. It's still
Mhm.
open. So
For sure.
I don't know. I think people can relate more to Folded than to Mutt.
That's a
Unless
good
you're just
point. That's a
really
good
that
point.
kind of guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a very, very resonant track, and we're gonna see how that goes as far as like the song and performance nominations. We also have the best traditional R&B performance to talk about, which includes some newer names in comparison to those earlier categories. We have Duran Bernard again with "Here We Are," Lala Hathaway with "Uptown," Ledisi with "I Love You Too" or "Love You Too," Leon Thomas again with "Vibes Don't Lie," and SZA with "Cry Baby," which was one of her recent SOS Deluxe hits. I think that this is one where the difference between like R&B performance and traditional R&B performance usually results in a different pick for the Grammys. I honestly don't know which one they're. I don't know how to feel as far as predictions. Like, there's obviously the momentum of Leon and SZA as big names, but they're big names in other categories, and I feel like the traditional R&B performance is gonna lead voters to vote elsewhere here. I don't know where they would necessarily go. I'm kind of leaning towards Duran Bernard as far as prediction because of some other categories we'll talk about soon. But I really, really love that Lettucey track. Just like how minimal it is, how breezy it is, how tender it is. I feel like she puts on a great performance as well. So that would have to be my pick, Tally. What about you?
Yeah, great takes, great takes. I would say that, in this category, the Grammys usually lean like pretty classic here and restrained. Let Us See feels like the most correct answer, but I think Leon Thomas winning in this category would kind of signal like more of a shift. Um, I love Duran Bernard. I think I'm not sure if this is his first nomination, but he's somebody who's also been like very skilled, very talented, putting out music for years. So the fact that he's recognized in this category, congrats to him. I'm a fan, and I had the opportunity to interview Durand on the carpet
Oh,
last
nice.
year for an award show, and I asked him like, "What? How do you define Black excellence?" And he was like, "I'm gonna start with myself."
That's a great
And
answer. That's a
that
great
clip like
answer.
went baby viral on TikTok, and like people were turning it into a sound on TikTok. So I think he as a person is pretty just deserving, and I love to see a deserving person win. So I would say it's between Leon Thomas, Vibes Don't Lie, and you know what? I'm gonna put Duran Bernard as one of my predictions. I'm curious to see, what does the chat think? Does the chat think that anybody else should be nominated in this category? This is best traditional R&B performance, and
Let
yeah,
me
we
see
got
those
some.
fire emojis for Lettucey. I want the Lettucey fans to pop out. And if you haven't heard Love You Too by Lettucey and that album, please do. It is amazing. I also feel like it's going to be interesting to see if Lala Hathaway takes it, because I feel like that was one of the more like energetic cuts in the category in comparison to the others. And I believe that she has also been like nominated before, or at least like the industry has been showing her a lot of love. So I think that it's going to be a tough call again. I feel like we've been saying that for all the categories because it really is like a very, very stacked year as far as these R&B and rap nominations go. But I'm rooting for Lettucey. I think that Duran Bernard has a pretty strong shot as well to win it. I agree with you, Tally. But the star power of Leon and SZA might just take it over the edge. So who knows?
What is a traditional R&B performance? Like, I wonder how is that defined?
That's
Because
a great question.
yeah, I think because there's so many, we went through three different R&B categories earlier. We went through best R&B performance, melodic rap, which cuts the line, and then best R&B song. So best traditional R&B performance. I'm like, is there traditional R&B in this day and age? And like,
Yeah.
what does that consist of, and how are these songs fitting that bill? I'm curious to know what that actually consists of. Just
Yeah.
because I feel like that might be a voting metric, like how traditional it is, like which one is the most traditional. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me of the discrepancy between like the how urban contemporary got renamed to progressive R&B as well. So that's also like an interesting thing to point out. I'm glad you brought that up. But we're going to be wrapping up now pretty soon. We have the last category here, best R&B album, which is once again another pretty stacked one. We have Leon Thomas with Mutt, Tiana Taylor with Escape Room, Lettucey with The Crown, Giveon with Beloved, and Coco Jones with Why Not More. Duran Bernard is also up in the progressive R&B album categories. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll have enough time to make it there. But we did want to talk about this R&B album category real quick, because even though Leon Thomas is again a front runner because of his general field nominations and the momentum, I feel like Giveon's album also got a lot of love this year. So what do you think, Tally?
I'm on board with Giveon's album, Beloved. I loved Beloved. I got the opportunity to see him perform it at the not the Hollywood Bowl, but the venue that looks just like Hollywood Bowl. I can't think
Okay.
of what it's called. Um, he performed it, and like he put on a whole show for every song for that album. Like he had brought a fan on stage and they had like a romantic dinner behind the curtains. So all that to say, Givion's album is like filled with storytelling. I think it's an amazing body of work, and like when I think of what makes a good R&B album, I think like the entire start to finish tells a story. And not saying Mutt didn't do that, because that would be my other prediction in this category between Giveon and Leon Thomas. But I think Beloved was a stronger body of work overall. I think he had more time to promote it. Granted, it didn't get as like viral per se as Leon did, but I also don't think R&B needs to operate on that same forefront, you know? I think like
Absolutely.
Leon has his powerhouses of Ty Dolla Sign and like just the rap energy, I would say, behind his like momentum, versus Giveon to me is more traditional R&B, you know? It is softer. It is like a little bit more, I don't know. He doesn't need to do all the antics, and nor should he. I don't want to
Yeah.
have an R&B album pushed in my face with all the antics, you know? I want it to be a love story. I want it to kind of have that like romantic vibe to it, and I think
Always, always.
everything Giveon did with Beloved was romantic.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. And I do agree that it's also a stronger body of work than Mutt as far as just like the complete package. I really love the soulful influences on the album as well. And even within like working with a lot of like slick guitar lines and buried percussion, like he pulls a lot of versatility out of not just the songs but his performances as well. I have similar praise for Lettucey's The Crown, which I hadn't heard before this like award season, and I'm really glad that I got to jump on it because I also found it to be very cohesive, very passionate, very warm album as well. And just like as a complete body of work, I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm pulling for those two to win. That's not to take away from Coco Jones and Tiana Taylor, who both put out their great renditions of R&B as well. Coco Jones being a little bit more modern, a little bit more versatile, whereas Tiana Taylor was much more atmospheric with a lot of interludes, clearly getting a lot of stuff off her chest. So I think that, again, the momentum might carry Leon forward. But you never know, especially with the R&B category, which I feel like is very like voter specific. So I agree with you. I'm pulling for Giveon. I would love to see Lettucey take it though. She's been awarded before by the Grammys, so if we're talking distribution and everything, it could be that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting category, a really exciting award season in Grammys as a whole.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you know, they Grammys never fail to surprise us with at least one plot twist. So we'll see how right or wrong we are come Sunday. So yeah, if you guys want a post Grammys recap, be sure to stay tuned to All Things Hot New Hip Hop, because we are covering the Grammys in every category. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Let us know which takes you guys loved. Who do you think is going to win album of the year? That's the big one. Song of the year, record of the year. I'm curious to know if we align with what you guys also think. And yeah, this should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be covering the Grammys all through Sunday, February 1st. We're going to be doing the live blog on Hot New Hip Hop, covering all the winners and all the things that are going on at the Grammys. We're going to be doing more live streams like these, so stay tuned to Hot New Hip Hop for everything. Remember that it's going to take place at 8 p.m. Eastern as far as the main ceremony. The other awards and nomination or other awards will be given out a little bit earlier. And we're really excited to see how everything goes. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all have an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, an amazing year. We'll see how the Grammys shape up this year. It's going to be interesting. And of course, last but not least, thank you, Tally, for having this conversation with me. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so
Of
much.
course. Thank you, Gabe. I'm happy we could respectfully agree to disagree on certain things. That takes skill.
Yeah, absolutely. You know where my loyalties lie. So we'll see what's up.
We'll see. I'm rooting for you. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great one. Take care, everybody.
Bye.